Well, it looks like according to some rumors, we're going to be getting a few new games from Nintendo, and one of them happens to be a new Donkey Kong game. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this GameXplain discussion. I am Joey. I am joined by Tom, and I am joined by my good friend Alan, who is a certified Donkey Kong expert. And we're going to talk about these rumors that just came out this morning. But first, before we get into the big chalupa that is the Donkey Kong rumor, I want to go over some other things that have been posted by, quote, notorious leaker Zippo, according to Triss in the latest news update. He talks about a few games being announced this year or maybe even later on, and one of them is Super Mario Party 2. Now this is interesting because we got an update for Super Mario Party like almost 3 years after it came out, and where you can now play full-on board games in Super Mario Party. I haven't gotten a chance to try this out yet, but I know you did, Tom, with the other GameXplain crew members. How was that?
It works good. Maybe 85% of the time. Sometimes it does slow down. Unfortunately, in our live stream with everyone, it sort of went to a grinding halt and then got good and then just disconnected on our very last round. So it's usually good, but can be hit or miss.
Ah, that sounds about right. Did you try it out yet, Alan?
Not yet, actually. I haven't found the time to play it with some people.
Well, guess we'll have to do that sometime now, won't we?
Oh, please.
But yes, nothing else about Super Mario Party 2, but it looks like maybe since that update happened, guess we are going to get one sometime soon. Next rumor is a new Fire Emblem game. There's not a lot about this one yet either, but after the success that was Fire Emblem Three Houses, it wouldn't surprise me. You know, I have a copy of Three Houses just sitting on my shelf. I haven't played it yet, so please don't hurt me. Comment section. But the next rumor, and this is a bigger one. But as a big Metroid fan, I always have to air caution whenever I hear leaks because too many times have I been let down. But according to Zippo, this is 200% happening. Like, the game is done. We're getting a new 2D Metroid game from Mercury Steam. I don't think he mentions anything about it being maybe a remaster of Samus Returns or even a remake of Super Metroid, just the fact that it's a 2D game running at a very smooth 60 frames per second and is most likely going to be announced at E3. This is kind of likely because it's been a while since Mercury Steam made Samus Returns, and they actually just announced that their next game is coming out on console and PC, and it's being published by 505 Games. But if that's the case, then that means this game is done, if it does exist. But like I said, I have to remain cautious. What do you think of this, Tom?
Well, I think Mercury Steam was hiring more people at one point, so there is a possibility they could have been working on 2 games at once. It says a new 2D game. Does that mean, like, it kind of means not to have Samus Returns just ported over to Switch, but does it mean maybe doing a huge overhaul of another Metroid, like Metroid Fusion? Would that count as new? Or, like, I'd be most excited, of course, it was something completely brand new for Metroid. And considering the relationship with Mercury Steam that Nintendo had, and I think it turned out well, it seems very possible for this to happen.
I think so too, and I really hope it does, but like I said, I can't hold my breath for Metroid rumors anymore. Alan, what are your thoughts on this?
I think this is pretty interesting, especially since this isn't a port, or at least it doesn't say it's a port of Samus Returns. So it makes you wonder if they're really that willing to make 2 brand new pieces of lore for one franchise, especially ahead of Metroid Prime 4 coming out eventually. Do they do a Bloodstained and they make a game that's sort of an extension to the lore to get you excited for Metroid Prime 4, or is it a brand new entirety? Or a brand new thing entirely.
Well, you know, that's always been a thing. Like, people have been wondering, can we get Metroid 5? Which, because Metroid Fusion is technically Metroid 4, maybe we'll finally get a 2D Metroid and it'll be Metroid 5, which would then make it canonical, which would then make it in the timeline the last Metroid game in the timeline, even way after Metroid Prime 4. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully we'll get an announcement at E3. I'm not gonna hold my breath like I said, but you know, hopefully. But now, I think this is the biggest rumor of the bunch, and the internet seems to agree. A new Donkey Kong game is apparently in the works by Nintendo EPD Tokyo. If you don't know who they are, they developed Super Mario Odyssey, amongst a bunch of other games that I don't remember off the top of my head.
I believe they did the Galaxy series, and before that they did Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
That's right, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, so they're not a total stranger to Donkey Kong. And according to Zippo, this will be a new 2D Donkey Kong game. Other YouTubers have stated that it's a 3D one, so that's kind of up in the air at this point. But just to be safe, I'm going to expect a 2D Donkey Kong. One, because 2D Donkey Kong games are amazing. And two, I just see that as more likely. The last time Nintendo experimented with a 3D Donkey Kong game, it wasn't Nintendo, it was Rare who developed Donkey Kong 64, and that kind of has a mixed reception. There's people who still have fond memories with Donkey Kong 64, like myself, but undeniably it does have some problems. It's bloated, it's kind of a bit of a mess, but I doubt, but a 2D Donkey Kong game seems to be the safest bet here, especially since it works thanks to Tropical Freeze and of course the Donkey Kong Country series. But Zippo states to not expect the country moniker to return, as EPD Tokyo are not interested in making a sequel to games they didn't make, which is very interesting. Alan, tell me what you thought when you first heard this rumor, you being a massive fan of the country series.
Yeah, well, first, the conflicting 2D, 3D Donkey Kong report kind of makes me very confused. I don't know which one I want the most. Nintendo is kind of estranged to 3D Donkey Kong, like open worlds, and even Rare in a case, because they've only really made Donkey Kong 64. So it's like when you think of 3D Donkey Kong, there's not really a clear like idea of what you think of it now. Will Nintendo take the experimental route and change it into something completely new? Or are they going to take what made Donkey Kong Country so great and kind of inject it with their little Nintendo quirkiness? It's really... I'm really excited for it. That's no denier there.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it too. Like, at first I did think, oh, Mario Odyssey developer, then it's gotta be 3D. But then I heard it's gonna remain 2D, and I'm like, you know what? I'm still excited, because 2D Donkey Kong, when done right, is just, it's otherworldly. Tropical Freeze turned out to be one of the greatest platformers of all time. Now, obviously, this is a different developer, if the rumors are to be believed, but I still have faith that a team as talented as EPD Tokyo can create something that is truly memorable. Tom, what did you think of this rumor?
It's great to hear that they're thinking of Donkey Kong the 40th anniversary. So many times the anniversaries come and go, and Donkey Kong, is a big one. Nintendo EPD did such a great job with Jungle Beat. That game was bursting with energy. Although some of my biggest memories is just the second DK in the bottom that was larger, so you could see the fur animation on it. And that was a really creative start for that team. I'd love to see what they can do after all their experience on the recent Marios, and if it's 2D, if it's going to have huge set pieces like Tropical Freeze, or what their unique take will be on it.
And that's what I'm wondering too. Like, it not having the country moniker in the title makes me wonder what they would try to do different, and maybe the only concern for me would be that they would try so hard to be different from the country series to the game's detriment. Like, maybe a lot of the moves will be different, like you won't be able to roll anymore, you won't be able to bongo drum the ground anymore. There's a lot of speculation that we could speculate here, because we don't know literally anything about, we don't even know if this game is real, for one. But it kind of just leads me to think, how would they desperately try to make this game feel different from the rest? Oh, you know what? Maybe it is Jungle Beat 2 or whatever it would be.
Oh, man.
Maybe you would have to just go get a bongo drum accessory or just use the Joy-Cons, or that would just be wild, just to say the very least. But what the rumor also states is that Diddy Kong, Cranky Kong, and the Kremling crew should also be returning in this installment. So does that mean that King K. Rool would make his triumphant comeback outside of Smash Bros?
I think you'd hope.
You would hope, right?
Yeah, his Smash reception was astronomical, to say the least. Everybody went nuts for it. And to this day, he still has really good sales. The amiibos were doing really well. The prices on eBay they're okay. They're not insane Fire Emblem levels, but
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, this would be the first Donkey Kong game since early 2014. So it's been a long time since we've been treated to a really good Donkey Kong game. And yeah, it is the 40th anniversary of Donkey Kong. And, you know, maybe this would have gone to Retro Studios had they not been assigned Metroid Prime 4. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Nintendo tackles a 2D Donkey Kong game, especially since they haven't made one since Jungle Beat, from what I recall.
Nintendo really doesn't seem to want Retro Studios working on more than one title at a time.
Yeah.
After its initial starting out with maybe 4 titles. If somebody told you, like, you're getting a Donkey Kong, it's not Donkey Kong Country, but you get Kremlings, I mean, I would take that any day. I do think it might be a bit more ambitious than just Jungle Beat 2. I think Jungle Beat 2 is very unique with the bongos. I think with the Switch and like maybe shaking Joy-Cons or something, to be more likely just to be a standard 2D platformer. Although there was a lot of punching things in Jungle Beat, maybe that could return and be part of the focus here.
It's really hard for me to picture what this game would look like. And it shouldn't be, but it is. Because because for years we've associated Donkey Kong, 2D Donkey Kong especially, to the Country series made by Retro Studios. Donkey Kong Country Returns, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, and you know what? Maybe Nintendo EPD would actually try and make it more in that realm of 2D platformer, because I know the rumor states like they're not interested in making a sequel to a game they didn't make, but you can't ignore the impact of the Country series. Alan should know this. He's played Donkey Kong Country 2, 5 times per year for the past 25 years?
Oh, dude, it's probably maybe 2 times a year, like 100% those things. That thing is a masterpiece. And Retro, when they make Donkey Kong Country Returns, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, they very much do so holding the Donkey Kong Country series in high regard, making sure that every piece of it is as if the team at Rare worked on this game themselves. And like you said, I can't really envision what they're going to be doing. If they're going to be making a 2D Donkey Kong game, they're obviously going to throw in their own Nintendo flavor into the mix, see what they can do. So what gets affected by that? Does the music change a little bit? Are the level designs a little more different, a little more convoluted? Does the combat change? Like you said, does the motion controls make a factor in it? This is a lot of stuff that really really messes with you thinking about what they're going to be releasing.
I've never played Donkey Kong Jungle Beat. How does that compare to a Country game?
Very far off difference.
I figured. Not even just in the controls, but I'm thinking like overall level designs and whatnot.
I don't know how to really describe it. I feel like it feels more like arcadey a little, you know?
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
So I would think we can safely assume like this is, of course, it's not going to be Jungle Beat 2, but I'm just trying to get an idea of how like Nintendo EPD would make a 2D Donkey Kong game, and you know it's really hard to figure that out.
Yeah, it's a mystery. It's absolutely one of the world's greatest mysteries.
Here's an alternate timeline scenario. Maybe not an alternate timeline because we don't know for sure if this game is real or if it's going to be a 2D Donkey Kong. Because, you know, other people have stated, other YouTubers, they've stated that this is actually a 3D Donkey Kong game. And we haven't seen a 3D Donkey Kong game for over 20 years since Donkey Kong 64, and that has a shaky reception now. And this is being made by the developers who made 3D Mario and who've almost perfected 3D Mario. So to picture a Donkey Kong 3D game, what does that even look like now? Is it a collectathon like Donkey Kong 64, or is it more of an Odyssey type game?
I think a Donkey Kong would be more of an Odyssey type game. I think you'd have to avoid collectathons like the plague after Donkey Kong 64. I know it's been so long, but you just couldn't have that comparison brought up. You'd have to have something unique and yeah, just not focus on collecting a million different items.
I think if they just inject, I would very much, personally, myself, I would love to play a game where they just inject Donkey Kong, but with like the gameplay and the collecting aspect of Odyssey, but just keep it grounded on like DK Island or something of the sort, and I'd play that 11 times out of 10.
Yeah, and you know, that's even more of things we could just speculate since there hasn't been a Donkey Kong 3D game for a while. So that's kind of like a unique challenge for Nintendo to have to sort of reinvent the wheel on that, because we don't know what a 3D Donkey Kong game would look like in 2021, which is probably why I believe more that it's going to be a 2D Donkey Kong game, because it's sort of easier to try and navigate those realms than it is a 3D one. But you know, that team is very ambitious. You look at Mario Odyssey, that game is practically the definition of ambitious. Hey, you get to control every single enemy in this game that can have a cap thrown on them. Just wild. I still can't believe that game is a real thing.
Maybe with this Donkey Kong, like every single enemy, you could somehow, you know, maybe they become weak at some point and you can ride them as different creatures. I mean, riding animals is a big thing in Donkey Kong. Maybe you could use that to your advantage in a 3D one.
Ooh, Donkey Kong Racing. Donkey Kong Racing it is.
Yes, it is.
Not quite racing, but, you know, getting around the environment.
Yeah.
For sure.
It would be fun.
And, you know, we have to ask the deep burning question. To close out this discussion, we're going to ask the deepest burning question we all have. Will there be a funky mode?
That's it's a little out of pocket right there. I don't know if I want that.
Yes, you do. We all want it. Come on, Alan. Get
You're
with
right.
the program.
I don't know why I'm denying it. I want it so bad.
I could have said Kiddy Kong, but I didn't. I refrained.
Thank God.
But yeah, those are the rumors for today, and if even one of these rumors turns out to be true, then we'll probably have a really exciting E3 ahead of us. I don't know, maybe if the only rumor that's true is Super Mario Party 2, I'm gonna be like, oh darn. But you know, it's exciting. I'm a little more excited for Nintendo's E3 now, but I'm also trying to set my expectations because maybe none of these are true. So always keep your expectations in check for any events. But I want a new Donkey Kong, man. I really do. And I want that 2D Metroid, obviously.
Well, after Tropical Freeze, Donkey Kong ascended and left our planet and went into space. So maybe he's never coming back.
Plot twist. It's going to be set. This game is going to be set in space. Let's be honest.
Let's be honest, guys. Donkey Kong's going to team up with Metroid, and that's why they're both coming out with 2D platformers, okay? They're going to be working together. It's going to be Crash Purple and Spyro Orange.
Anyway, thank you for joining us, Alan. Tell us where we can find you.
You can find me everywhere. Twitch, Twitter, Discord, at Alonzo Mega.
Thank you all so much for watching this discussion here on GameXplain. Let us know what you think of these rumors in the comment section down below. Tell us your ideas for a possible Donkey Kong game as well. But thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to GameXplain for more discussions like this, and check out the videos on the right for more topics that you might be interested in. But until next time, bye.